Okay, g'day all. Right, as you can see, got the shell off, cut the tail lights off, a whole section. Yeah, got them over there. And I've been preparing a new bar to go on the back. I'll just run through what I've done. Okay, so I have all my wires running through this bit of conduit to the frame. Yeah, hopefully it's not still hot. I'm going to burn myself. Okay, so this will be fitting in the back here. Locking it off. Wires will come through the hole in the front. And yeah, what I've got, because that conduit's not long enough, got another bit of conduit that'll fit over the top of that. Fits reasonably tidy in the hole. Once it's all finished, primed, painted, I'll run some silicone around that conduit. I've heard other people saying not to do this because they reckon you might trap moisture inside or something, but I like to fully seal things. Now, I mean, if this has been laying out in the rain, yeah, it could be wet, but this has been in a rack that's under cover. Yeah, it's plenty warm. It's maybe 28, 30 degrees out there. Yeah, and I've been welding on it. There's no moisture inside this pipe, so I'm not trapping moisture in there. You know? So, yeah, I like to fully seal things so that moisture can't get in. And I've done that with the entire trailer. That's also why. So you'll cut a big hole in here. It's just a little bit smaller than that. And I'll be fully welding that because I'll have to do that a little bit at a time and yeah, keep compressed air on it so it doesn't get hot enough to melt the conduit or the wire. I've actually got a bit of pipe too that I won't put the conduit in. That won't extend the conduit just yet, but I've got a bit of pipe, so yeah, when I get it in place, I'll hold it in the centre with a bit of pipe. That'll also help it not melt, burn, but as I said, I'm going to have to do like half inch, cool it down, do another half inch, so on. Just make sure the whole thing doesn't get too hot. Right. I've also got to think, because this trailer is going to have interchangeable tops, like it's got the bug shell, that's one. There'll also be a box, a box tray going on there for carrying dirt and shit. Down the track, I'll get some tracks that I can also bolt on so I can carry motorbikes on it. I've already carried a boat on it. So yeah, there's lots of different applications, like also things like flat timber or a gyprock or something like that. Don't need to put anything there, can just sit on top. So this was the purpose of building this trailer, which was going to happen with the other trailer, which I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, the other one's double axle. It's just when I go to the tip, they charge you twice the price because it's a double axle, and it's I had that onto my fair lane, and it's I'm like 7-8 meters long. You can't. It's difficult to go through town. You can't park it anywhere. It becomes a real pain. So, I needed a smaller trailer. Like I have to have the big trailer for firewood and stuff like that. We burn in the middle of winter. We're burning like 3 meters of wood every fortnight. So yeah, I've got to be able to carry. I can only afford to go and get wood once a fortnight. Payday, check days. Pension days, so yeah, the other trailer has to be big enough to carry and strong enough to carry 3 meters of wood. But yeah, as I said, it's just too big and it's a nuisance for other small things. So yeah, that was the biggest part of building a second trailer. Anyway, get past that, getting back to the job at hand. I keep all sorts of things that I think might be interesting shapes, brackets, things like that. But the other thing I keep is pieces of plate that have got nuts welded on the back, or threads in them, you know. Just makes it easier for applications like this. So I've just got 2 bits of plate that have got nuts welded on the back, cut it out, welded them in. I'll clean that off, and yeah, when I'm not, like this is for bolting the other lights on, but yeah, when I'm not using this, I'll just, yeah, I'll screw a couple of short bolts. I got long bolts in here. This is basically to protect the thread so they don't get splattered down in the thread, and it also helps to, hold them in place. You can hold it there with the bolt, tack it. So yeah, it serves 2 purposes. This one here, made a mistake. I got past, I'm thinking about, getting past where I got to screw the bolts in, so I measured to about here, and I thought, yeah, that'll be fine for thread holes. And then after I welded the one in, fortunately I realised before I got to the second one that I'd have to be changing both of them. But yeah, I realised when I was sitting down having a smoke, actually, and do a lot of thinking while I'm sitting down having a smoke. It's me thinking too. But yeah, these bolts will have to come right through, so I'll have to weld bits of pipe into it. Like I'll put a plate all over the bottom. I'll break off the whole bottom section, the bit that hangs down, below this bar. And I'll put a piece all the way across, which is only going to be 2 inches or something. And that way, when I bolt it on, there's no dirt, water, spiders, anything climbing in there. But yeah, that'll go right across, and then there'll be another short piece coming up. But I realised, as I said, after I did it, that they're still in the way of the number plate light. Like originally I measured, and they're running here. So yeah, I needed to move them out to here so I can actually put bolts through. Given the number plate goes on here too, I'll have to try and get some heavy wall pipe so that I can countersink it, because yeah, you want countersunk bolts going in here. Otherwise you've got to pack your number plate out. You want it flush so you don't have an issue with your number plate. But yeah, so I sat down and looked at it and thought, well, I don't want to move it up and then have to weld a second plate in there, to fill the gap in. So I measured, well, this is a line, this is where the bolts need to go. And you notice I've crossed it so that I don't cut it by mistake. But yeah, I measured past here to get past this weld, because then I'll be cutting right through the weld again. So I measured 20mm up from where the bolts have to go, and 20mm up from the bolt to here, so that when I cut that out, I'll be able to just turn it around and it'll fit back in. It'll fit back in neatly, and it'll just be one weld going around it. But yeah, as I said, things like this happen. They happen a lot to me, actually. Make mistakes. That's the way it goes. You make a mistake, you fix it up. No great drama. Yeah, once again, this is the original hole I marked. And yeah, if you do mark things wrong, and you go and draw a new mark, either rub the mark off or cross it out. Because if you don't, you're likely to go and cut it, or work off the mark that was the wrong mark. Yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. But anyway, as I said, this will be going back in there, fully welded. Piece of conduit popping out here, sealed up with silicone. Probably sealed inside the conduit with silicone as well. I don't want anything getting in there. And yeah, of course the bug shell will be coming down, yeah, down to about here. So yeah, it'll be good. Poking out the back, and I'll have somewhere to run my wires out of harm's way and out of sight, and yeah, be able to run them around and into the other guards. Yeah, I mentioned before too, I'm going to shorten the axle because I couldn't get the width on the Volkswagen guards that I wanted. Like I'm about it. It's about an inch too wide, and I said I couldn't make the guards go out any further. They're just, like, I cut up the front guard and joined it to the back guard, and there just wasn't enough panel to make it any wider. But yeah, I sort of had the same issue with this. This is the guards that came off the previous trailer, and after I'd made the frame up and went to put the guards on, they were also too far in, so I had to put these pieces of rectangular tube in there to pack them out. So yeah, when I do eventually make the axle narrow, I'll be able to take them bars out, and these guards will actually line up with it as well. So, but yeah, so they're just a bolt on. Only actually got one bolt in it. I had to take some photos for trail blokies on the government website getting me some numbers to stamp into it. So, but yeah, he needed some photos to send to him. So that's why the other guards are back on there at the moment. Of course, I took all the photos before I cut the tail light off. Under the shell itself, it hasn't really changed a whole lot. Oh yeah, actually it has. I got the narrow blade. Yeah, took most of the lead off. A couple of little dags still in there. Yeah, actually ran through it in a couple of places. Here, down here. Same on the other side. Ground right through it here. That was just, it's too high. So, actually still a little bit high. I cut it a bit more. But yeah, now the soft, and it's plenty solid. I'll be able to just tip it over on a 3 or 4 upside down, whatever, and yeah, weld all that from the inside, and that way most of the weld can just stay on there for strength. I won't have to be grinding it back too much and risking grinding through it again. Yeah, I did make up a template of the other guard before I took it off the frame, as I mentioned, and measured from the front spring mount. Use that as a measuring point. Made up a template, marked it on the other side now, so it's in the exact same place as the other side. Drilled my bolt holes already, or drilled the pilot holes anyway, 1/8 rivet holes. I've also marked on here that's how far it has to continue. 120 here, 140 here, that's millimetres. Yeah, but to millimetres come in Australia. The last year I was in school, so it would have been 75. So, I'd learnt inches, everything in inch measurements at school, and then as soon as I started work, because, well, not my first job, but the second job, I was trainee carpenter for a couple of years, and everything you had to work in millimetres. But yeah, millimetres it's just way more accurate, way more easier. You're not working out fractions and halves and 3/4 and 3/8 and 5/8 and all the rest of it. It's just way easier, instead of going, 2 and 3/8 and 1/8 or 16th and all this bullshit. It's just one number. It'll be 50 mil, 60 mil, 67 mil. It's just way more accurate, way easier. So, any issue you get with metric is for some reason women work in centimetres. You know, it's probably because of dress sizes and clothes making and other things like that. They work in centimetres. So, you know, you tell Blake to go and get something 120 wide, you know, and he'll come back something 5 inches, you know, 120. You say, you know, 120 to a woman, they'll come out and it'll be 1200. It'll be a metre and 200 mil long. And that's, so yeah. If you give a measurement to a woman in millimetres, you got to tell them millimetres, not centimetres, or they'll get it wrong every time. Yeah. Yeah. Not knocking women, but you know, that's just a reality, the way things are. Yeah. Anyway, I'll get this finished and I'll get the shell back on again and we'll continue. Get the other guard on and then I can put this back rear band on. And then, yeah, get the bonnet to fit and then it'll be this difficult job. This is going to be a pain, I just know it. I've got to I got to put an angle. I got to put angle down to come down and then out because the rubber seal's got to sit down in there. So I'm undecided how I'm going to do that just yet. Possibly the easiest way would be to just start with a bit of angle, do a whole lot of cuts in it and bend it into shape and then weld all the cuts back up again. So that's probably the easiest way, I suppose. But yeah, still a lot of work to be done there. Still a lot of rust to be cut out. You can see, still full of holes. This whole section here to here gonna have to be replaced. Holes in there. We've also got overlaps here. That one doesn't look too bad. This one's rusted. So I'll do both, but yeah, I'll have to cut that whole 4 or 5 inch section out of it. Yeah, and I'll have to, depending on how I go, if I leave the top lip in, yeah, that should be alright. If I cut right through, then I'm going to have to brace it before I do it because it'll just like to move. Yeah, things just do that. Same up the front. Rust holes all the way along there. Got to get a list strip off too, grind off the spot welds. More holes over there. Yeah, so down in here, I already cut the overlap out of both of them. There's more rust. Still, there'll be holes under that, just like that. Yeah. And the bonnet's atrocious. Now that's just cactus. Yeah. Big patch in the corner. And until our lip all the way down there, both sides, all the way around the front. At least, you know, the lip all the way around and then another patch, you know, so yeah. Still got a bit of work ahead of me, but yeah, that was to be expected. When yeah, you buy an old piece of rusty junk, that's what you're going to expect. And anybody who does rust knows that rust is always worse than what it looks. You know, you see something with rust, once you start digging at it, it gets bigger and becomes more, and you just find more and more of it. And it's always that way. Especially on my van. Anybody who's got one of these model vans. Yeah. This is a really common place for rust. If you find a hole in here, even a couple of little holes, there's going to be a huge hole underneath it. It always is. And if you've got a huge hole here, you've probably got one down in your sill as well, because water will be running through there into your floor, or holes in your floor at least anyway, you know. Running down here, yeah, you also like to have holes down in here somewhere. Yeah. Just the way it goes. Anyway, I'm used to that. Alright, I think I've rambled on long enough. So, yeah, if you're still with us, thanks for watching, and catch you next time. Bye.